Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
then you're just zened out.
Putting yourself in a place. And let's make this the time to talk about the stigma that is behind this. This is not so CBD there's no component that is psychoactive. None, not a single piece. The only cannabinoid, there's actually two cannabinoids in the cannabis family, THC and THCA are the only two. Or no, I'm sorry, THC, THCA. Those are the only two. The other known 118 of them have no psychoactive properties whatsoever. They are nothing more than agonists. Okay, they run around and they signal things. They signal receptors to act, and that's it. Creating homeostasis. This is not alcohol. This is not psychoactive drug. This is none of those, and I think the stigma is still attached.
Which is, I find fascinating because, to be honest with you, you see an uprise in ashwagandha, which is an Ayurvedic herb that I learned about back in 2007, 2008.
Okay.
Very much helps you with stress and homeostasis. Well, people are taking that like nobody's business.
Oh my goodness.
And yet we have a stigma on CBD. And explain to me though, Ed, and I'm sure you've discussed this before, but the difference between full spectrum CBD and then just the regular CBD?
Yeah, so there's full spectrum, broad spectrum, and isolate.
Okay.
And in the order I just said, the full spectrum includes every cannabinoid in that plant, which is THC.
Okay.
All right, so it has the hemp plant predominantly has CBD in it and has a very small amount of THC. Next down the list is broad spectrum, and broad spectrum is where they took the entire plant, but they pulled the THC out of it. And then last is an isolate. They pulled the CBD out of the plant by itself.
Okay.
All right. So that's what it is. So again, the isolate's starting to fade away. Nobody's doing it anymore because with the value of all those cannabinoids, you can't ignore them anymore.
Yeah.
So that one's going away.
Yeah.
The THC is becoming more and more understood. So there's a balance between those two. Clinical is definitely in full spectrum. They see the value of THC. They want it in there. They know in the hemp plant, it is super, super, super small. Listen, the minimum dose of THC and a broad spectrum CBD product, you'd have to smoke 400 joints to get to the same place.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So when people talk about this, what does that 0.03% mean? Yeah, it means you're going to be sitting around for a long time trying to match it.
Yeah,
okay?
there's
no noticeable THC in a hemp plant.
No. Yeah. I mean that, and I find it interesting too, because, in the somewhat of the spiritual community, I'm a realist, I'm very practical. Like I'm bold, I'm practical. Let's get real, make this easy, especially with how I teach.
Yeah.
But there's a stigma that, hey, you don't want to use anything that you put in your body. Yet you see people using the ashwagandha or crystals or whatnot. So why not CBD? And I love that you're clarifying this and educating people so much on it, because again, I know I even asked you, seeing all the CBD in the what am I thinking of? Medical marijuana facilities. Right?
Oh yeah. Those the recreational places, the
dispensaries.
Thank
you.
Yeah. Okay.
So I love that you're educating people on the quality of, and that you're so passionate about it.
Yeah.
Because you don't see that.
And the thing is, listen, the media and the government did a great job of demonizing this plant.
They did.
They just did a great job. Mm-hmm. And that's why ashwagandha it was never, under the list. Mm-hmm. So that's why there's still the stigma. It probably will take at least another 5 or 10 years before people really go, yeah.
And that's a pretty good forecast. That really is.
Yeah. I mean, they did a great job.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they did, didn't they? Okay, we're going to move on so we can get some more information into you. Now, how about this? How does the ECS system interact with the parasympathetic system? Now, the parasympathetic...
Say that again?
The parasympathetic nervous system. All right. But I feel like I got it. Did I get it?
Yeah, the second time, yeah.
All right, good. Okay. Is a division of the autonomic nervous system that primarily functions to promote rest, relaxation, and digestion. It counterbalances the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for fight or flight response. So if you think about that, once you are done with fight or flight, then you need this system to kick back in.
Yes.
And I can't wait to have your participation in on this conversation. But I can tell you the ECS system does interact with it. It is involved in various physiological processes, including pain modulation, immune response, mood regulation, and appetite, which are some of the systems in which the parasympathetic nervous system deals with. The interaction between the two, let's see here. CB1 receptor is the most common, and so that is the one in the brain. Activating the CB1 receptors can trigger activity and influencing the parasympathetic outflow and the associated physiological responses.
Okay. And that means?
Playing a role in regulating the release of neurotransmitters involved in the parasympathetic signaling, and such as acetylcholine.
Oh my gosh, we're back to reading, people. We're back to reading.
See. Where is that? Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty close. All right.
Close.
Take it away.
So I'm extremely passionate about this whole subject. And I'd love to learn about the ECS system. Like, I'm fascinated now because, of course, meditation can help all these things, as I've said multiple times.
Yep.
Let's be real. Most of us are in the fight or flight all the time.
Nowadays,
we're I mean, it's just constant. Our phones.
It's the phone.
I mean, it's the phone. You pick it up. I mean, nobody puts their phone in the other room. Barely. I'm trying, right? How many times you wake up? I look at that thing when I'm going to the restroom in the middle of the night. Well, instantly I have a thought of, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yep.
So fight or flight is always on. And not to mention just what's going on politically, what's going on in the world, what's going on in our families, drug abuse, obesity, you name it.
Yep.
So
it's all there.
So learning about the ECS and then and the CB1 receptor, I sound so smart. And then what meditation and can do for all of that is fascinating to me. And one of the particular things that I'm very passionate about is something about the appetite. So in my class, I teach a lot about mindfulness, and we dig deep into belief systems, and it's not always easy. Meditation can bring about some of those things, by the way. So be careful, journal. And if you do, I'm just going to say this to the public, if you do meditate and start having what I call peeling away at the onions, you start feeling a little bit worse, make sure you go talk to somebody and journal about it, because it can help you get into some of these biological responses to fight or flight, because the parasympathetic is coming on as well. What happens too is these days when the parasympathetic lights up, a lot of people don't know that that's supposed to happen,
right?
Because they're so used to being in the fight or flight and the busyness and the chaos and cortisol levels that are up, and your adrenal levels that are up and all that. So, but the appetite is huge. We see a epidemic of obesity. And I have a friend named Will Almijo, and he has a very good nutrition program. And one of the things we talked about is that you can lose weight on any sort of diet, but if you don't get into your mind and your mindfulness and really dig deep, which I think meditation and CBD can definitely help when they bring together, you're going to revert back.
Yep.
And so nobody's talking about that in the weight loss industry. And so it's something I'm very, very passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I think if you can, again, and this is why I'm so interested in this, is controlling those urges.
Yeah.
I keep saying controlling. Should I say being aware of those urges?
Recognizing and then responding to them instead of reacting. So let's respond to our urges and be aware of them, or our thoughts, or our emotional responses to, hey, I'm stressed out, I want to eat, or I'm stressed out, I want to drink. Let's respond to them. And in response means you're making an educated choice, whether you're going to actually indulge in that and you know why, or you're going to say, okay, I'm not. But reaction is that instant when you're in fight or flight.
Yeah.
It's, when you curse somebody out.
Yeah.
So.
Now let me add to this, because the parasympathetic nervous system, so when we talk about its counterbalance to the fight and flight, let's go into detail so people understand and can connect with the conversation that you're having. So some of the things that it promotes is rest, relaxation, and digestion. Let's talk about digestion, because it stimulates digestion. It stimulates constriction of blood in the digestive system, and it also triggers muscle reaction in the digestive system. So I would imagine these are all things, if they're going on a lot,
yes,
would contribute.
Yes. So again, one of the things that I think of with that, right, the parasympathetic system happens when you sleep, but only that's when you restore. How many of us are getting good sleep?
Yeah. So
Not a
these
lot.
these are things that are compounding. It's gotten me scared.
Yes. Anyway. The increase of IBS in the nation. You hear all about the gut biome right now, right? Yeah. Why? Because probably since, and I'm 48 years young, but probably since I was a little girl, I was in that fight or flight or stressed out for multiple reasons, right? And so my gut has then had 48 years of being in the fight or flight, in the I'm stressed out and not being able to function properly. So and you know what, the gut is the second brain, as far as I'm concerned. And so not only do we have to take care of this brain, we need to take care of our gut. And that healing process takes some time as well. But understanding that you have to make a conscious effort to activate the parasympathetic.
Okay.
I agree. Now I'm going to let me roll through some things here. The effective meditation on cells, reduce oxidative stress. We talked about those. Improves immune function. Enhances. Let's go to enhances mitochondria functions. Now we'd like to see something other than the damn cold things that you and I do, huh, Kim?
Yeah, I mean,
cold showers and all those, what do you call that? Immersing yourself in extreme cold or whatever that.
Yes.
So I'm just actually learning a little bit more about mitochondrial reactions, and I come from a spiritual background of quantum physics and that sort of stuff. And so when I get into the body, I'm really fascinated by the mitochondrial. In fact, I just started taking a supplement, for mitochondrial activity. Okay. So I would not be able to speak too much on that, except for your cells regrow. Meditation helps those cells grow and, in the proper way, which is going to help with that.
All right. I'm going to give you now. So mitochondrial is big. That really is big. And a lot of people know about it. Not many people know about autophagy. Autophagy is achieved when you hear people talk about fasting for, 3 or 4 days, because what they're looking for is to get to that place of autophagy. Okay. And if I'm saying that word correctly. Yeah. And by the way, that is, so there's cell degradation that happens at autophagy that helps remove dysfunctional components of your cell. And so people are striving to that. Now, hey, listen, I wish we could share more, but now you have to reach out to Erin to get additional information. Erin, can you share how somebody would reach out to you?
Absolutely. The best way is probably on social media. So I'm going to give you one of my Instagrams. So it's at the.goddess.blossom.
The Goddess
Blossom with dots in between.
Yep.
I tried to get it without the dots, but at the.goddess.blossom.
All right.
Or I'm Erin M. Harvey, as in Marie Harvey, on Facebook. So
beautiful.
Feel free to message me.
All right, because you got our interest, and I bet you're going to have other listeners' interest as well.
Thank you so much.
And I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart in participating in this topic with us. This is a wonderful topic.
Yeah, I think we should bring you back after Ed and I meditate.
Yes, because the next one is, okay, you've gotten started. Now what? Yeah. Exactly. Let's do that. Let's plan that.
Because we need to understand more of the deeper background of meditation.
Right. So. Yes.
Okay. We do have to wrap this show up. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I hope this was a good subject for you.
Yes.
All right. So this is Ed.
And this is Kim.
Reaching out for our best health possible. And we're out.
Thank you for listening to the CBD Ed Show. Please join your host, Ed Cheney, for another edition next Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, on the Voice America Variety Channel. We can also be heard each week on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel.